it's live, and then I don't really know if it is or not. So we're going to see. Live on YouTube, too. You're going to be a YouTube star.
Ooh, maybe I'll go viral.
Yes, let's do it.
My teenager will be so impressed.
I know, right? My team members' kids are always like so amazed that I have a YouTube channel. They're like, she does? Oh God. Okay, it is live. It's good. I got us in our group over here. This is so cool. I love this because look, it's got like words too.
Oh yeah, like I thought I saw when you used this one time that it had the subtitles, and I'm like, that is so cool.
Yes, I love it. Okay, and I don't know what you can see on your end, but can you see the chat?
I can't. Well, it does say private chat. I see you, like you and me side by side, and I do see private chat at the bottom. I'm just gonna say hello. How's that? Oh,
that might just be.
Oh, it just like popped up all over the place.
There you are.
Okay. So is my private chat only to you? Because now I see Becky and Mandy.
You can see them?
I see, yeah, they're over on the right. This is super cool. Yeah, some of them say, yeah, I see them saying hey.
Okay, good, perfect. Oh yes, I can see it too. Awesome. I can see it on the video thing over here. Good. Okay, so now that we've got all of that figured out, yay! All right, you guys. It looks like there's like 8 people watching. So when you get here, some of you, we won't be able to see your name because you just have to click the little thing. It says powered by Restream in the comments there, and you just are in the description. You have to click that and give it permission to know who you are. So if you want us to know who you are, click that little guy there. So we can see you. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and let this lovely lady introduce herself, and then I'm just going to ask her I just have a couple questions to kind of fuel the conversation, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. I love it. So, oh yeah, I have to introduce myself. Okay. Yep. You did say that. So, hi ladies, I'm super excited. My name is Page Dossey. I'm sorry, I lost you and I have to find you. I clicked somewhere accidentally, and hold on, bear with me. Where did you go? There we are. Okay, now I can see you. So I am a senior director. I live in Southern California, so I live in the sunny area of California, way down here. I am in Chino, which is about 45 minutes from LA. If you've ever been to Disneyland, I'm like 20 minutes from Disneyland. And I'm getting distracted by the chat. And so I've been in business 11 years. I've been doing, I was a Passion Parties transfer. So I started out with Passion Parties, same as Jen. And I transferred over in 2016. And yes, been in business 11 years. My team is the Moxie Militia. I specifically chose that name because I really do feel like in order to be a consultant and to work this business, you've got to have moxie. You've got to have some cojones behind you to rock this business. And so that's my team of badass women. A few stats about me. I am on President's Club. Last year, my sales were 73 and change. My team did, I think, around 233-ish in sales, 233 in sales. Just this week, we surpassed our 2020 team sales. So right now, we're just shy of 240. I know, very exciting. I have some up and coming emerging leaders, and I'm super stoked about that. I finally have some girls, honestly, just taking the business as seriously as I am. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that with you guys because there's different types of consultants in the business. There's all different kinds, but what I am not is I am not the racehorse. I am not the super shoot to the top consultants. I am what I heard Jan Mostu years and years ago say is I am the cloppity clop horse. I am super, super reliable and consistent. And so therefore, it kind of took me a little longer to grow a big team and really start to get some traction with sponsoring. So I will talk about that. But so I'm super excited because we're on track for board of directors. So that is very, very, it's a goal I've had for a long, long time. I'm super excited to be getting there. That's about it. When I'm not working, which I do work a lot, I'm hustling right now for my flash sale. But I am married. My husband and I have a blended family. We've got a little mini litter, kind of like Jen does, where we got 5 kids. His, hers, and ours, that whole thing. And so I have a blended family. Absolutely love all of our kids. And we only have one left in the home, though. All of our boys are older, so we just have our daughter left here. And we have 5, and she is harder than the other 4 all put together. Like, teenage girls are no joke. So I'm living that life. I'm living that life right now. And so, yeah, and I live on a little hobby farm in Chino. Absolutely love it. I love growing my own food and vegetables, and we have horses and chickens and all the things. And that's my just like super fun, happy place is being outside. Being in the water and then being out on my farm are like my 2 favorite things in the world. So that's a little bit about me.
Love it. And you guys, I just have to tell you, because we got a lot of small town Iowans on our team. When she says farm, we're not talking about the same kind of farm as Iowa. We pulled up to her farm after like basically having to slam on our brakes from 50 to 0 so that we could turn off the road in the middle of town. I'm thinking we're going to go out in the country. There's no country in Southern California. So yeah, right off a busy road in the middle of town. She's got chickens and goats and horses, and my kids liked was it a raptor? Is that what you had?
Oh yeah, the rhino. Yeah.
Rhino.
Yeah,
and
yeah, if like I'm from California, born and raised, so for me, 3 acres, this is our own little like Midwestern paradise, but by the beach. So for people from Iowa, for sure, you guys have thousands and thousands of acreage and all that, but it's not like that here. We're definitely in a very populated area, which is kind of nice. Again, I'm real close to Disneyland and things like that, but yeah, it's probably not as farmland as you might think.
No, we think of farms and we're like, oh, okay, so it takes you 20 minutes to get there? No, like it takes you 20 minutes to get to Disneyland. That's different. Totally different.
Totally.
Angie had asked over here, how many people are on your team right now?
Oh, yeah, good question. I have 82 girls on my team right now. I think I'm going to throw my own little personal party when we hit 100. I'm very excited to be even getting close to that. I remember years ago when my upline had 100 girls on her team, and I just had stars in my eyes. Like I'm like, gosh, man, that would be so cool. So I'm getting there.
Yes. Awesome. I love it. Okay. So we're going to just dive right into the deep stuff. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. So tell us, I know you said you were going to talk about it a little bit. So I want you to start off by telling us your lows of your business, like the shit that really should have made you quit. And here you are. So obviously you didn't. So tell us about that stuff.
So when someone asks me that there's 2 kind of pivotal times that I think about that my brain just goes to. And the first was, and I won't spend a lot of time talking about this, but it was during the transition. So when we transitioned from when Passion Party shut down and we transitioned over, at that time, I had 26 girls on my team, which it doesn't seem like a lot. It's, maybe not now, but at the time, I mean, I had just acquired that level. I was at I'm trying to remember what the level was called now, but I came into Pure Romance as an advanced director and immediately lost 80% of my team, right? And so I had just hit executive director that prior year. So I really felt like when you talk about the longevity of my career and my business, I had at that point, I think, been in my business 5 years. So again, because I'm slow, steady, it took me 5 years to hit executive director, which is the same right now as advanced director here. And so I just felt like the rug got pulled out from under me. Absolutely. I know a lot of us did. And so it was about just rebuilding. And the one thing that I will tell you I did different than a lot of others is that what Chris would say now, the pivot, I pivoted very early on with pure romance. So, especially here in California, the dynamic is different here in California in the sense that there are a lot of competitive reasons of why women do not hold a party with you. So I can go out and book 10 parties a month, and the percentage of those parties that are going to hold is a lot lower than a lot of other places. And that's strictly just because, and it's not an excuse, it's the reality of living in the Sunshine State. Everybody can go anywhere and do anything. You never really have weather as a factor, other than maybe the heat once in a while, but you could just stay inside, right? And so I really felt like at the time I had to really fight for my business. And I did pivot quickly. And so even though, like in California, a lot of the women, I think, fell into that mentality of maybe a victim or excuse mentality. And I did it. I really genuinely, I had my highest month or year in sales that year that we transitioned. I made President's Club. I just dove in and ran with it. And there were, other consultants that were still struggling with it a year and 2 and 3 years later. So I felt like I found a home with pure romance, and I really just embraced it. So there was that time that was really difficult. But bigger than that, way bigger than that was, it was when I was a younger consultant and I was really struggling with sponsoring. And what I mean by that was I had just quit my career. At the time I graduated college, I have a bachelor's degree in English. I had planned on using that at my job, which I worked as an HR supervisor at UPS. Wonderful job, great benefits. I quit it to be a stay-at-home mom. And a couple months after I had quit that job, I very soon realized that COBRA benefits are very expensive. And I have a special needs son who all of our kids were under my insurance. And so the money, we were good for me to give up the money from the income from my job. The issue was the income was gone. And now we were paying out a couple grand a month in COBRA benefits. And that really started to deteriorate our savings. And so I really had to, while I was doing this just for fun, I really had to shift gears and pretty quickly treat it like a business. And I just really, really struggled with maintaining the balance of being a new mom. My daughter had just been born. She was still a baby at the time. And so being a new mom, but then also trying to treat, at the time, passion parties as my business and make income and grow a team. And I honestly just struggled so hard because I will tell you the reason why. I did not understand the numbers. I did not understand the level that you had to, the level of consistency that you really had to do to grow a team. And what I mean by that was I would sign one, I'd sign two, and then one would roll off. And then I'd sign two and another one. And I just kept literally, I think for about 3 years, I just hovered between these two levels, which at this point right now would be equivalent to senior consultant and associate director. I just kept bouncing back and forth, and I could never, number one, understand why, and I could never get past that point. And it all came down to I wasn't being consistent enough. And that's really kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit. Because even though it's funny, because I always think I'm going to talk about consistency, and honestly, I'm really inconsistent, but I think that I do certain things very consistently. So even if I get off track here and there, there are some basic things that I've learned to do. I would not have a team of 82 if I wasn't doing those things. And that was a huge shift in my business. So at the time, you might think, well, that doesn't seem like a really big deal. You struggled with sponsoring. But it genuinely was like, I was questioning whether or not I should stay a consultant, because I just was like, why am I going to do this if I'm never really going to be successful at this? This is stupid. I just keep hovering back and forth. And it broke my heart. And I remember being in tears about it with my upline, because she was explaining to me the numbers, and I was so upset because I knew my schedule. I couldn't do what she was saying I needed to do. And it wasn't until I figured out the right way to do that, that I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. But I really did think I had to walk away from my business, which I loved so much, because I wasn't going to figure it out. And I did. I figured it out because I'm still here, right? But that was hard to come to that realization. I remember crying on the phone with her, and she was like, I'm sorry. It's just the reality of it. If you can't do these things, you're not going to be in front of enough people to sponsor it the way you want to. So it was aligning my my perception with reality, and how much harder, or just more consistent, because it's not always harder, that I needed to work. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, 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 yes. How many of you can relate to, there's so many things you just said. You were talking about balance, the work mom balance. You were talking about not understanding the numbers, which I'm glad you said that, because next week I'm doing a full web series show every day, Monday through Friday, breaking down the numbers and how to elevate your business to the next level. So if you guys didn't know about that, now you do. And you're also talking about commitment to the business. I heard you say consistency, and we just talked about consistency the other day, and how it is good to be consistent. But really what you're saying is you're committing to the business, committing to the process, and committing to the outcome, essentially. Like, this is the outcome I need, and so I need to commit to the process in order to get there. Chris says it all the time, right? He says, detach from the process, commit to the outcome, or detach from the, what he says, commit to the process, detach, other way around, commit to the process, detach from the outcome. And it's so hard to understand what the hell he means until you're like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, so it is a light bulb moment when you're just like, head down, do the things, and do them long enough, and you'll have the success.
Yes. Yes. Angie, our team has about 220. So Paige is getting close. She's right on our tail. And it looks like you should be about a $500,000 team this year too. So that's exciting. And that's what we were last year, not 2020 and 2019. We were just under a $500,000 team. So that's how fast this shit can change. Just like that.
It does. And it has. It genuinely, I mean, I remember sitting through a training that Chris did one time, and he broke down numbers on like, to help us understand how much you sponsor. It's not just how much you sponsor this year, but the exponential impact it has when you do that consistent number, just from 1 year over another, and then over another, within 2 years, 3 years, like you've tripled or whatever. And it was weird that, again, 4, 5, 6 years into my business, I'm just like, nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, the last few years, when I finally got consistent, that's where the numbers really, absolutely.
Yes. Yes. It's so relatable. So relatable on so many different levels. I know for a fact there's people watching that have that balance problem with the mom business balance, the commitment problem, or even like, I feel like I have realized recently that a lot of people think I work really hard. And so they like subconsciously block themselves from being at my level because they don't want to do the work that I do. And so that commitment piece is right there too. Like, if I commit to that, then I'm going to have those results. And I don't know if I really want those results, because I do, but I don't, I don't know.
And that was what you're talking about right there. Was I had 3 stepsons, my son, and my baby daughter. And so when you talk about like mom life and all that, that's what brought me to tears. I was like, I'm doing everything I can. What do you mean I have to do more? And it didn't mean I needed to spend more time. I didn't mean I needed to work harder. It meant, and this is literally what I did, I worked my business in the nooks and crannies. I helped my husband run his transportation company. And so I'm president of that company, and I'm president of like my pure romance business. So I was working 30 hours a week with his business to help him get it off the ground. I was momming. I had a 25-minute drive every day, and I was on the phone. That's when I worked my business in the nooks, when baby napped, when I did all the things. And it wasn't to me about working harder. It's just you. And I've always said this, you can work this business in the nooks and crannies. You don't have to work, 50 hours a week just doing this.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I was having meetings a couple months ago with one-on-ones with a bunch of my girls about that exact subject. We were schedules for their business. And as soon as they laid out their schedule, they're like, wow, I have a shitload of time that I didn't know I had. And we're like, and yes, that's where you put the stuff. You decide what you want to put there. If you want to put work there all the time, like Jen does, because Jen's crazy, this is my hobby. So I put that into my hobby time. But if you want to do other things, you can put that in there too. So yeah, so good. And so the next question I was going to ask you was about your bounce back from a lot of those low lows. I think you answered a lot of it, but if you want to add anything else.
Yeah. So the point at which I had the conversation with my upline, which Jen, I think you probably remember my upline, it was Aubrey Lancaster. Yeah. And she was absolutely wonderful. And she'd been in the business longer than me, so she broke down the numbers. And she was like, look, if you, and I don't remember exactly what those numbers are now, but basically it was along the lines of everything we always say. If you want to do 4 parties a month, how many do you need to book? You need to book 6, right? And because you know that 4 are actually going to hold. It was that concept. And when she broke down the concept of sponsoring to me and the numbers that you need, like, to be always, she helped me understand the funnel, right? And so I was like, well, if I talk to, I just remember the conversation so clearly. She was like, I was like, I just feel like I'm talking to everyone and just no one's interested. And I don't know what to do. And she was like, okay, how many people would you say, you've talked to, lately? And I'm like, everyone. I mentioned the business everywhere. And she was like, okay, all right, well, how many people have you talked to about the business in the last week? And I'm like, okay, in the last week, well, I didn't do a party this week, so I wasn't in front of people. But I gave my card to this girl at Starbucks, and she seemed like she was interested. And so she said, so you've talked to 1 person? I'm like, yeah. But last week I did a party, and so there were 9 girls at that party, so I talked to 9 girls last week. And I'm always, made sure I offered the business opportunity to every single person. And she said, okay, so you've talked to 10 people in the last 2 weeks. And do you get where I'm going with this? Is you're frustrated because you haven't signed anybody. Think about it this way. You need to talk to 100 women. 10 of them, 20 of them might show a genuine interest. Of those who are genuinely interested, maybe 5 of them, 4 of them are going to take you seriously. And when she put that to me, it meant I need to party more. I needed to just be in front of more women. And that's the part where I was just like, oh my gosh, I did mind this business. So all it did was it helped me align my expectations with my reality, which is if I was going to continue working my other job, I had to give, and I had to be better about working consistently, the nooks and crannies, making sure I followed up, all the things. So when I came to that realization was that shift that you're talking about, because that was the point at which I started going, okay, now I know the numbers, now I'm going for it. And it was just that paradigm shift. It was just that reality where I was like, okay, now I'm not setting up these unrealistic expectations. And so the real swing in my business came when I started honestly pushing for President's Club. When I started going, okay, I need to sign 24 women a year. That means I need to talk to how many, right? That means I need to do how many parties. So breaking down the numbers, if you have not sat down with whomever, your upline, Jen, whoever it is, and really broken down your numbers so that you understand literally how many women a week you need to even just talk to, then I feel like you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, or you're just not setting yourself up for that success. So have that conversation. I'm a very goal-oriented, goal-driven person. I don't do well when someone just says, here, kind of go over here and see what you come up with. I'm like, no. I need tangible, like the spreadsheet that corporate gives us when they're like, okay, here's your projections. I'm like, I dive in because I need that. I need that concrete.
And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't want to look.
Yeah. And I was like that in school. I was very goal oriented, goal driven, where I needed to have it in black and white. And then, I had structure to it. Not knowing drives me crazy. So, so that being said, if I could share anything from my experience that might help girls, if you are sitting here thinking, I just really struggle with growing a team, even if you're just trying to even if you're just toying with the idea of stepping into leadership, like what does that look like in real life of like people to talk to? What are the things that maybe you can do to get that consistency? Number one of the tools that I have, and I share this whenever I talk to people because it works for me. Not everybody's like this, but my organization system is a happy planner. So again, I'm very structured. And so I have to have it like, on paper, written down, all those things. And I created my own, what I like to call my dashboard. And it literally, when I sit down at my desk, it tells me every single thing I need to do. I've got my dailies. So my day always starts with 10 things. And guess what? One of them is a sponsoring task. So I don't care what it is. If it's a follow-up message from a party from last week, if it's a passive post about sponsoring, if it's promoting a kit sale or working on a graphic, every single day I do at least one sponsoring task. And if you learn nothing from this call or from me or anything but that is what I will tell you. That will change your entire business. And I credit, honestly, I credit that to Megan Ulrich, who is on board of directors. She's amazing. I freaking love her. And I did a Sarah Klein training with her. And she was like, you need to sponsor, you need to do those tasks every single day. I was sponsoring to the kit sales. A kit sale would drop and I'd run out and I'd try to, get all of the girls to join my team, right? And then 2 weeks later, I would do parties and never play a sponsoring game. And what is that? That's inconsistent, right? And so when I really got consistent about my sponsoring tasks, and it doesn't have to be big stuff. If you work a full-time job right now and you're like, I don't have time to grow a team. You do, you just aren't seeing it. So, if you can steal a graphic and post it in, 2 minutes, boom, done. You did your sponsoring task for the day, you're good. But it's that consistency because it builds and builds and builds. So I got really organized and I created that. So I've got my dailies and then I've got everything I'm supposed to do on Monday, everything I'm supposed to do on Tuesday. Do I do them all the time every day? And that's why I say sometimes I'm consistently inconsistent, but it's there in front of me and I mark it off and it really helps me. And then one of the big other things that I really wrapped my head around was really treating the girls who I wanted to join my team, treating it with intention. You might not think this, but you get to choose who is on your team. And I know it doesn't feel like that because when you're really trying to sponsor people, you'll take anyone, right? You just want anyone on your team. Of course, we want to offer the business opportunity to everyone. But when you do a party or when you meet women, don't you ever just meet that one girl that's just like, oh my God, she is so cool. I want to be her friend. Like, imagine if she was on my team. She is stinking like so cool. I go after that girl. I make her my best friend. I am in her DMs. I'm loving on her posts. And it's not like, stalkerish, not like that. But I really set out an intention of like, this girl would be great on my team. I got to go right now. I drove 2 hours last week for a bachelorette party, 2 hours plus, 2 hours, 15 minutes each way, all the way out to the coast, Ventura. And she was just super cool. She was very open with me in the ordering room. She shared that she's got a girlfriend. She's LGBTQ. And I was like, girl, I need you on my team. I do not have anyone in this area. I would love an LGBTQ girl out here. Like you need to be on my team. I am just after that girl. So when you meet those women, I always say, treat them like your BFF. Like you have a different relationship with your BFF than you do everyone else. And you just really hit it off and build that relationship with them. And when it's genuine and sincere and all the things, you're going to attract those people to your team.
I love it.
Is that enough? I'm a talker. Can you tell?
I love it. It's great. Angie did ask, how many hours a week do you put in, would you say?
I mean, it's hard to say because if you ask me that, it's what works for my schedule. I genuinely love. I work too much. I'm like Jen. Like I love working. I love being a consultant. I love all the things about it. I love being at a party and entertaining. I always say if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'm going to be the old lady consultant. I'm going to be, 70 years old, still doing parties. So I genuinely love it. Even if I was rich, I would be doing this. So it's hard to say, well, I work 40 hours a week. I mean, I'm in here, I would say I work, 6 hours, maybe 8 hours a day. I work a lot, but that's my choice. Like when I couldn't do that and I was working more on my husband's business, it was definitely closer, like maybe, including parties, 15 or 20 hours a week. I definitely think you can be a leader in this business, a senior consultant, an advanced associate director, a director. You can be at those levels and work this business 15, 20 hours a week. I genuinely believe that, right? So I don't want anyone to ever think, well, I can't work 8 hours a day doing this. Screw it. No, I think I could run my team and I could do parties genuinely in like 20 hours a week, probably.
Yeah, and it depends on how you operate too, because a lot of our team is virtual, and my training really only is to do one party a week. That's 1 hour a week plus maybe 1 hour of invoices. And then if you decide to build a team too, you probably have to add in a couple hours here and there. But I mean, I work probably 35, 40 hours a week, again, by choice. Also, it's probably not even that much, honestly, and it depends on what's going on that week. But I have a big team, so a lot of the stuff I'm doing is developing new projects for my team or leading them in sale presentations, so they can go out and give those to their customers too. So I'm putting in a lot of creative time for my team too, and I'm sure Paige can relate to that. So as far as like if you're sitting there thinking, man, I really can't do what these girls do, you don't have to do it the way we do it.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's peaks and valleys, right, in our business. So right now, next week is my flash sale. So of course, right now, my husband was like, "Let's go swimming," and I'm like, I can't, I just can't right now. Like all I can do is live, eat, breathe, flash sale, right? But it's not always like that. You know what I mean? 2 weeks ago, it wasn't like that. 2 months from now, it won't be like that. So it's like with anything that it's going to go up and down.
Seasons. Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So what would you say, maybe we already know the answer to this, what would you say is your superpower in your business?
Superpower in the business. So I think the greatest compliment that I get, like, I consider this my superpower only because I get told this a lot. So, and some of you might hear this at your parties as well, which is I feel like I am very good at building a really good rapport with someone. So I feel like the art of meeting a woman at a party, walking in the door, setting up my table real quick, meeting her, even if it's virtual, introducing yourself. And then spending that, for me, my party's, 90 minutes, hour and a half, right? Spending that time with them and the interaction that happens in that amount of time. And then by the time that party is over, and they've come into the ordering room and thanked me, hugged me, said what a great time they had. I feel like the rapport that I build in a very small amount of time I feel like that is a talent and a superpower and something, genuine and good that I do. So to me, that's important for being a successful consultant, is you want these women who have experienced trauma, who have gone through infidelities, who are struggling with their body image, so many issues that women are dealing with when it comes to sex and sexual health. We get to make them feel comfortable, and I honor that. I feel like that's something we really live up to, and I do it through what I consider to be another strength, which is the sexual health education part of it. I just really enjoy fulfilling that role in society. I love that we get to help normalize, things like the word clitoris and talking about orgasms. And I just think that that's a super freaking cool thing that we get to do. And so building that rapport, and it's a fine balance, because I can educate the crap out of them, but they're going to be bored out of their mind, right? No, I don't want to do that. I love being able to walk that line of like having them laughing till they've got tears coming down their face, but also at the same time, they're like, damn, I learned something. That's like, to me, like a perfect night is when they had a great time and they learned something. And then the last thing I guess just would be, like we talked about, was just the consistency, is just the hang in there-ness. I don't even know what that's called, but the fact that I hang in there and I see it through. I'm not
resilient.
Resilient. Absolutely. I'm very resilient. I hang in there. I don't give up. There's a lot that there's reasons why. But I had a really rough upbringing, and there's not a lot you really are going to have to, I'm going to latch on, and I'm going to see it through to the very end. So I don't give up very easily. But at the same time, I'm not an early adapter. I don't jump into things just like super quick and like master it. Like, it takes me a while, but I'm in it for the long haul.
I love that. That must be why we're friends, because I just did a little thing. Oh, you read it. I sent to you. So resilience.
Yes.
That is why we are. That's got to be one of the reasons we're friends. And you guys, I didn't even. Paige and I were acquaintances for years, and we, never really said a whole lot. We never actually like sat down and had conversations. I don't think. We were just like, oh, hey, I know you, and hey, cool, awesome. And then I was traveling for 5 months, and we were going out to California, and I'm like, hey, we're friends.
Yeah.
Let's I was like, hey. Yeah. And so we went over to Paige's house. She invited our whole family over for dinner. I went to her team meeting that night. And then she also helped organize the lingerie fashion show that I did in November. So it's just really cool, because my kids started saying, everywhere we went, they were like, somebody everywhere. And that's what this business does for you. You get these awesome friendships and people from all over. Paige is from Southern California. A lot of our team members are in the Midwest. Next week, we're going to talk to Mandy Wise, and she is in Florida. So, just the entire country is covered with this business. If you're here for nothing else, at least be here for the friendships and stick it out, right? Resilience.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we actually, if you remember, I don't know if you knew, but it was my first incentive trip that I earned. So it was, what was that? Passion in Paradise. It was Mexico. It was Cancun or whatever. Yes. I met you on that trip, but like so briefly, like I don't think we ever even really like spoke or whatever. It was in passing. And then I don't think we really had very many interactions until maybe a national training here and there or something like that. But it just kind of eventually.
Yeah. I just always remember like, oh yeah, that's Paige, like, hey, how's it going? And like bumping into you, but we never really like sat down and we never really talked a whole lot. But I'm glad we're friends now.
Yeah,
it was great getting to know you and your daughter and your husband. Paige's daughter loved my daughters because she likes the babies. So, well, yes. Daughter and son. But anyways, yeah. So I guess to like
encapsulate it.
yes, to just wrap everything up, can you give us your top 3 business / organizational tips? I really appreciate you throwing in that planner thing because I'm all about the planners. So if you have top 3 business or organizational tips, lay it on us.
So for me, and I always kind of look at it like, because I'm thinking of my audience right now. So I'm thinking of, not everybody's like me where maybe you can work this business 8, 10, 12 hours a day. So number one, is plan your time out. If you're not planning for your business, if you're not, whatever that is, like on Sunday night or whatever you're doing, looking into the week and going, okay, when am I going to work my business? If you're not doing that, you're missing a huge opportunity. I don't really feel like you can really even complain that you don't have time to work your business if you're not doing that, right? Because it isn't until you sit down with whatever you use, it can be your phone, it can be your calendar, whatever it is you use, it isn't until you sit and you look at your day from start to finish for the whole week and look at what you have going, plug in all the personal stuff, plug in your work, plug in the doctor's appointments, plug it all in, and find those pockets. And again, it might be on your headset in your car for 6 minutes. Don't tell me you don't have time to work your business. If you're driving to the farmer's market or you're driving somewhere, not always because, COVID life, but still, you're doing something. Are you having a bowel movement every day? If you are, you've got 3 minutes to be on your phone. Yes. Not that you're scheduling your bathroom time, but you get hopefully where I'm going with this is, like every night before I go to bed, that time when I'm scrolling TikTok and I'm like doing all that stuff, I make sure I do something for my business. That technically is just your decompression time, and you're just kind of like, trying to wind down for the night. I'm still working my business in those moments. So find the pockets. If I had to just say it in one sentence, find the little pieces of time, because if you're beating yourself up because you don't have 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours a day, stop focusing on that. Focus on 5 minutes, right? I would much rather have, I tell my team members, I would much rather have you work your business 10 minutes a day for 5 days in a row than for you to sit down on Friday at the end of the week and work your business for an hour. It's a completely different thing, even though the amount of time is the same. Mm-hmm. Right? Yep. Okay. So that would be a huge one. If anyone is a happy planner kind of gal, if you don't know what I mean, you get these at like Michael's or Staples or Hobby Lobby. Mine's a Disney theme because, hello, Disney, I live in California, right? And so this is formatted and I laminate it and it fits into here. I have one of these that I share with my team. So mine is obviously going to have all the reports I have to run for somebody with 82 people on their team, 3 times a month and all that kind of stuff. You don't need all that. But if you're a beginner consultant or you're a senior consultant or something like that, this could be very valuable, and I'd be happy to share it if that is something that you want. That'd be awesome. And then, it's a Word doc, so it's super easy. And then as far as time management goes, if you really want to work smarter, not harder, open your mind up to sponsoring. If you have the mindset of like, I don't want to grow a team, I don't have time, I invite you to shift your mindset, because when you start, this is what I like to call it, when you plant so many seeds that you need a gardener to take care of that shit. That's what I'm talking about, is you plant those sponsoring seeds everywhere you go. And that is the ultimate in this business. That is the ultimate work smarter, not harder. Get people onto your team and you are making money off of them while they are working. And then you are still working the same or maybe less or whatever you want to work, but you're having those streams of income. So if you want to work less, I know it's counterintuitive, but grow a team.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the ones that just really kind of come to my mind.
I love it. Those are great. If anybody has any questions, drop them in the comments real quick. And if you're watching the replay, you can still drop them in the comments. Paige is in our group, so she answered those questions in the comments. And just a reminder, this is our first time doing this. So if you want to continue to be Paige's friend, just click the follow button on her profile instead of adding her as a friend, so that she doesn't get overwhelmed with a bunch of consultants. We only get 5,000 of those for friends. But awesome. Okay. So let me just try something real quick, because I was looking at my screen and I noticed I could myself off. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so next time I'm going to do that so that I'm not just sitting here like
looking at yourself.
Yeah, so we can like focus on the main event. So thanks for being my guinea pig for that. Is there anything else you want to add to
I'm trying to think. One of the things that I really I mentioned about superpowers was about like sexual health and sexual education. And that's one thing that if I'm ever talking to my team knows this, like, because I beat it into them just about being professional and again, filling that role in society of being a sexual health educator. That's one tip I would share is if I don't know how many of the girls watching this are new consultants or have been around for a while, or, I don't know what the team dynamic is like, but if you're a newer consultant, I would say Pure Romance offers the sexual health course. It is free. Like, take that and run. It is wonderful. It is so empowering. It will teach you so much. I really feel like that is a huge thing that we need to do as consultants, is just really share and help. And that is how we're impacting society. So if I were to give any pearls of wisdom, I would say try to verse yourself on that. And keep in mind, I'd never been through any training before I became a consultant. That's the beauty of this business.
Same.
So I feel like that's what, we need to do. And back to if I share any last tips, back to the original things of what I talked about with sponsoring, which is the first things first, nail the basics, like get your basics down. Do a sponsoring game every single party, right? Ask every single person if they want to join your team. To me, those are the basics. Get those down. If you're a newer consultant, like, know those like the back of your hand. And then if you really are wanting to, now you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next stuff. If you're not sponsoring enough, if you're not making enough money, if you don't feel like you're being successful in this business, the answer is always parties. Parties, parties, parties. And even if you're a virtual girl, it still applies. If you want to sponsor more, do more parties. Be in front of more women. If you want to make more money, book more parties. If anything we want in this business, the answer is at your party.
More parties. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I did have a question I wanted to ask you that I wrote down here. And someone also said, how many Sizzle Sisters are there? There's about 220 Sizzle Sisters. But my question to you was, you said that you really got serious about President's Club, and that's when things changed for you. Do you happen to remember where you were at, like what your numbers, your sales and sponsoring were before you made that commitment to President's Club?
So I don't know. I couldn't tell you, like, in this year, this is how many I sponsored. And then in this year, but I do know that first year when I signed the 24, I remember it doubled. So what I mean by that was, and this is the mentality I was in, this will tell you, I'm glad you asked that question, because this will tell you. I struggled to sign one person every other month. Like, I just felt like that was my average. I wouldn't sign one month, and then I would sign one. And then maybe I wouldn't sign somebody, and then I would sign two. So I was signing like 12 a year-ish, roughly, right? And that was that inconsistency of just, not really doing the sponsoring tasks. trying to sponsor to the kit sale, those things, those inconsistent efforts. And so once I went for President's Club, I then got more consistent, and I was then able to do more like, 2 a month. So 2 a month consistently. Not that I did 2 every month. There were some more, some less, whatever's. But yeah, I did 24 in a year, and I'm like, wow, I doubled my number. This is awesome. And I hit President's Club. And then from there, the following years, I've kind of still hovered around that 24. But here's what I'm going to tell you right now. I've gotten much better, like to where I can honestly say, it's crazy for me to say this, that sponsoring is one of my strengths. What? I don't have crazy numbers, but I've already signed and activated. I've signed 23. I've activated 20 this year, and we're halfway through the year. So I'm obviously going to totally do way more than my previous 24 or whatever. And that is because I'm now signing 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever a month. So I contribute all of that to consistency and just talking to women everywhere I go, sharing the business opportunity, being really, really consistent with that. That was the shift that happened to get me from 10 to 12 a year to 24. And then now, I'd love to do 50 this year. That would be like, yes, I would feel amazing if I did that.
Yes. Club 50, right?
Yeah.
Shooting for Club 50. Yeah. Awesome. I love it. So I just wanted to note, a lot of people look at those requirements and they feel like they're out of reach for what they're currently doing. It's out of reach for anyone who's never done it. And pretty much everyone who's on President's Club for the first time ever has never done that prior to that, right? That's kind of the nature of how it works. Your first time is because you've never done it before. So don't count yourselves out, especially for Rookie of the Year and President's Clubs right after that, Board of Directors. Anybody can do that. There was someone on Senior Board of Directors this trip in Arizona who had skipped over President's Club and board and went straight to Senior Board. So,
wow. Yeah. And Chris, everybody, they make it. We didn't have $39 social sellers. We didn't have $20 social sellers. Really, that's changed the game, and it's just opened up this opportunity for so many women that really felt like they couldn't step into something like this because maybe money was a factor for them. So, it's really great to be able to have those conversations with women and offer them the business opportunity. Literally every single customer, I'm talking to them about the business opportunity because why not?
Yes, exactly. You never know who's going to be interested. And the thing about online is that people aren't interested until they are, because you can't see their face on the other side of the screen. You can't see how they're reacting to your things. You don't know until you know. People were asking me last night on a training call, they're like, how do you do follow-up? And I'm like, I don't. These people basically come out of the woodwork for virtual sponsoring because they're watching. All I'm doing is I'm showing up doing my job every day. And they come to me when they're ready, because a lot of times I haven't even heard. There's sign up on my team, and it's the very first message we've ever had with each other. There is no other messages.
Yeah.
Some of them have been connected to me for 8 years and they've never said anything to me, and they've been watching, and now all of a sudden here they are and I didn't know. So yeah. Good shit. It's good shit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so to finish off here, I want to invite you to do something that we do a lot on our team calls, and I want you to tell us something that we can acknowledge you for. Like, what do you want to be acknowledged for? It always makes everyone feel uncomfortable, but we want to acknowledge you for something that you're proud of. It can be something you've done recently. It doesn't have big or small, anything that you want us to acknowledge you for.
Something that Jen, you know my story a little bit with this, and it's not something, I guess I kind of got a weird hang up about it, and I'm embracing it more and more, like literally more and more and more. And so I'm just going to like put it out there. Something that I'm really proud of myself for is, next month, not next, July, August marks, 3 years that my husband and I moved out of our house and got rid of 75% of our crap and moved on to this farm that we call it, right? And we live in a fifth wheel trailer the size of a small apartment. It truly is like not what probably most people think it is. Like it's like decent. I like it, but I'm very proud of myself for the ridiculous amount of money we have saved. We have saved over $50,000 in cutting expenses and cutting back. And we've just skyrocketed our credit scores. We've just like tightened the belt. And I'm super proud of the fact that we, I think a lot of people judge a lifestyle like that. And I'm very proud that we did that. And that right now, as soon as the market calms the hell down, we're really poised to take a huge step forward. And we're looking to buy a piece of land, 10, 20 acres in California, which is crazy, and have like a really good down payment and really good credit so we can qualify for a great little house. And just really excited and looking forward to that little slice of heaven that we're going to have that's ours again. So I think that's something that not a lot of people might be willing or even able to do, is just to, I felt like we were taking 2 steps back to take a couple steps forward eventually. But now that I've been doing it, like we were just talking the other day about, I was like, I will never live like in a cookie cutter neighborhood house ever again. Like for someone to come up to my door and knock on the door and like solicit or just to be able to do that. And in California, all the houses are like that, right? So for us to have land where, that's the dream for us. And I'm proud of myself, my husband, even my daughter, for going after the dream and tightening up and doing that to make that happen.
Yes. Yay. I've got goosebumps. I am so proud of you for that too. You're right though. How many times does it feel like you have to take a step back to take a step, 2 steps back to take 1 step forward? I know for a fact there's people on our team that can relate to that for sure. And we talk about it all the time, that sometimes that's just the order that the universe has you going in, because that's the only way the pieces will fit together for the end result. And you're so close. That's so exciting. Congrats. We definitely acknowledge you for that. Yeah, and go ahead.
Sure. Short-term sacrifice, long-term gain, right? That really has been my motto the last few years, is just, it's only for a little while. I can do anything for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
yeah. 3 years. What's that? I mean, shoot, that's nothing in the big scheme of everything. And being able to, you're still living the life you want to live every single day on the land that you have. You just don't have the house that you have yet. And that's okay, because you're making all the other shit happen. Yeah. So I super acknowledge you.
And I appreciate that. And my daughter is, I struggled with it, like the mom guilt of like not having, like, she's like, I just want a bedroom again, but she has her own room. But she's also got 3 acres that she gets to ride her horse on and do whatever that she gets to get dirty and go out. And so the lifestyle that we've given her, when she gets older, I hope she appreciates it, because she doesn't right now. But like, I'm very happy that I was able to give her that life, kind of like when we grew up in the 70s. That's when I grew up, which was you got to stay outside and play in the dirt until the street lights came on, right? And I felt like we have given her that life where she gets to play outside and be a kid and not always be like on electronics and things like that. And that was a choice we made. And in hindsight now, I'm like, I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. And you guys, you have more space than you let on to, because you've got that whole extra building that has a full kitchen and, full-size fridge and multiple fridges, right? Because you have your own meat.
We have a deep freezer because we slaughtered our pigs. So we've got the big deep freezer. Yeah, we've got our own like makeshift little kitchen area, and like we call it the lounge. And that's where I host my team meetings. And my husband's super handy. I fully acknowledge not everybody could live this life. Like, he's very, very mechanical. Like, he can do a lot of things. So it's not a life for everybody, but it works for us.
and all the money them. So if you guys have anything else you want to ask Paige, feel free to put it in the comments. If you have anything you want to acknowledge her for, I'm sure she would gladly accept that too. Thank you for being here. Thanks for testing out this system with me. And I don't know if it's going to hang up on you when I stop the stream. If not, I'll say hey and we can chat more. But I guess that's the end. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. And my cup is as full as yours. And if you girls follow me, private message me, whatever. If there's more things that I talked about and touched on and you want me to share, I'm more than happy. Thank you for the opportunity, Jen.
Yes, please do send us that document. I would love to have that checklist for the newbies. That'd be great.
Will do.
Thank you. All right.